Ladies and gentlemen, Memorial Day 2020 will look much different than it has in years past. While we are unable to gather in the park for the county service this year, it is vital that we still pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Many Memorial Day events are being canceled across the U.S., but veteran service organizations continue to make plans to honor our honored dead. It isn't surprising that even during a pandemic, brothers and sisters will come together to remember the fallen. As I think of these heroes who join us only in spirit, I can't help but feel awed by the enormity of what they have encountered in their short yet heroic lives. The service members we honor today have come from all walks of life, but they share several fundamental qualities. The Army core values sum up the attributes of these individuals who sought out to defend a cause which was greater than oneself: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Some of them didn't ask to leave their homes to fight on distant battlefields, and some volunteered, yet they were all ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to the occasion because they wanted to protect a nation which has given us all so much. We have awarded medals to many soldiers, added their names to monuments, and named buildings after them to honor them for their bravery. But nothing can ever replace the hole left behind by a fallen service member, and no number of medals nor ribbons will comfort their loved ones. General Patton once said, "Let me not mourn for the men who have died fighting, but rather let me be glad that such heroes have lived." While this quote provides little solace to a grieving widow, a child who just lost their father, or a broken-hearted mother, it instills in us a duty to not only acknowledge their sacrifice, but also take it upon ourselves to ensure that their story is told. On this weekend in particular, I remember friends with whom I have served. They left behind grieving widows and young children and scores of friends. We will grieve for them until our time on this earth is done. We remember them each and every day, but today is the day to speak their names and to tell their stories. The fourth stanza from Lawrence Binyon's poem, For the Fallen, always comes to mind when thinking about the significance of today. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age will not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. In closing, I would like to recount something that was said by Aaron Menken, a well-known Purple Heart recipient from the Iraq War. When he was asked to comment on his Purple Heart, he said that his medal reminds him that we have those among us who are willing to shed their blood, their sweat, and their families' tears in order to protect values and ideals that we hold most dear. He said, "It is up to us to ensure that we are living lives worthy of such a sacrifice." Many thanks to everyone who contributed to this video today. Your time and dedication to the memorialization of our nation's fallen is much appreciated. God bless our troops, God bless our fallen comrades, and God bless America.
Gracious God, on this Memorial Day weekend, we remember and give thanks for those who have given their lives in the service of our country. When the need was greatest, they stepped forward and did their duty to defend the freedoms that we enjoy, and to win the same for others. O God, you yourself have taught us that no love is greater than that which gives itself for another. These honored dead gave the most precious gift they had, life itself, for loved ones and neighbors, for comrades and country, and for us. Help us to honor their memory by caring for the family members they have left behind, by ensuring that their wounded comrades are properly cared for, by being watchful caretakers of the freedoms for which they gave their lives, and by demanding that no other young men and women follow them to a soldier's grave unless the reason is worthy and the cause is just. Holy God, help us to remember that freedom is not free. There are times when its cost is indeed dear. Never let us forget those who paid so terrible a price to ensure that freedom would be our legacy. Though their names may fade with the passing of generations, may we never forget what they have done. Help us to be worthy of their sacrifice. Help us, O God, to be worthy. Through Christ our Lord.
Good afternoon.
Amen.
I'd like to thank everyone for watching today and listening. Today is the day that we honor servicemen that gave their lives for their country. First of all, I'd like to thank all the servicemen and women that have stepped up for the call of duty. Currently, many monuments near and abroad that are possibly closest to your hearts. This one here has my uncle on it. He is one of the ones that never made it home. He is buried in foreign soil. But there are 28 other members on here that I never met, but I know them. I know them because they stood for honor, dignity, and they made us the strongest armed force in the world. If one of you ever get to go to a monument, if you get to visit one, remember those who served before, remember those who are no more. Remember those who serve today, remember them all on Memorial Day. It's been an honor to speak here today. God bless you, your families, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Annually, dating back to just after the Civil War, as Americans, we honor, mourn, and importantly, memorialize those who died while serving in the U.S. Armed Services. Indiantown Gap National Cemetery, serving as my backdrop, is a fitting place to reflect on the personal meaning of Memorial Day 2020. While this day is an opportunity for remembrance by all Americans, it takes on additional meaning to those who have served and those so unfortunate to have lost family, friends, or fellow warriors in defense of this great nation. I fall into this latter category, having first experienced this heavy emotional burden when two close Ranger buddies were killed in action while conducting combat operations on the island of Grenada during Operation Urgent Fury in October 1983. Sergeant Mark Brodemaker, buried in his hometown in Upper New York State, and Sergeant Randy Klein, buried in his home state of Indiana, brought home to me the sacrifice that young men and women make for our country. While they were not the first, nor would they be the last of my fellow Rangers and special operators to die over a nearly 3.5-decade career, their closeness to me and the loss of my useful sense of invulnerability causes this loss to weigh more heavily on me each Memorial Day. However, one does not have to be so physically or emotionally close to the death of a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guard members, or merchant Marine to be so impacted by it. And this was made clear to me in a 2010 visit to the Normandy American Cemetery on the bluffs over Omaha Beach. Amongst that garden of stones lays the graves of 9,385 of our military dead, most of whom lost their lives in the D-Day landings and ensuing operations. My wife and fellow Army veteran Maggie and I were equally moved by the experience and the recognition of the extraordinary loss of life in pursuit of protecting the freedoms we so dearly cherish as Americans. Neither of us will ever forget the honor of assisting with the raising of the flags that fly over that memorial. It may have been Sunday, 10 October 2020, but the date was immaterial, for it was indeed Memorial Day for us, and one without equal. My fellow Carbon County residents, I encourage you to find the time on this Memorial Day to reflect on the sacrifice of those service members from the armed forces, the Coast Guard, the Merchant Marine, who in the services of this nation made the ultimate sacrifice. May God continue to bless this great nation and the warriors who defend it.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks so bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, and saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders field.
Take up our quarrel with foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours, hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders field.
Forward, order! Ready! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire!